Good day, everyone. We are the Group 2, and our topic for today is about recruitment. So, what is recruitment? Recruitment refers to organizational activities that influence the number and types of applicants who apply for a job and whether the applicants accept jobs that are offered. In addition, recruiting often represents the first contact between organizations and prospective employees. The recruiting process begins with an attempt to find employees with the abilities and attitude desired by the organization and to match them with the task to be performed. Whether potential employees will respond to the recruiting effort depends on the attitude they have developed towards those tasks and the organization on the basis of their past social and working experiences. Their perception of the task will also be affected by the work climate in the organization.
Good day everyone, Bonalyn Stoke. I am the one of the member of Group 2 and I will be discussing the external influences. The first one is government and union restriction. Government regulations prohibiting discrimination in hiring the employment have a direct impact on recruiting process. With the introductions of new workplace compliance standard, your human resources department is constantly under pressure to stay within the law. These types of regulation influence every process of the HR department including hiring, training, compensation, termination, and much more. Without adhering to such regulation, a company can be fined extensively, which if it was bad enough could cause the company to shut down. Government agencies can do the reviews the following information about recruiting to see if an organization has violated the law. The number one is list of recruitment source for each job category. The list of recruitment source for each job is that current employees, employee referrals, job fairs, networking, school and colleges, unsolicited application, internet job banks, advertising, temporary service, outplacement agencies, alumni placement office, and associations, public employment officers, and the last is private employment. And the second one is recruiting advertisement. It is the practice of using job advertisement to attract, engage, and hire talent. It encompasses advertising strategies, processes, and technologies that enable recruiters to reach the right people at the right time and to build a steady pipeline of talent. Number three is estimates the firm's employment needs for the coming year. Number four is statistics on the number of applicants processed by the demographic category and by the job category or level. And the last one is checklist to show what evidence we use to verify the legal right to work. The number one is original documents. So you must ask to see the original documents. Are the documents are genuine, original, and unchanged? Do they belong to the same person who has handed them to you? Could they be tampered with? And the next one is the dates. Confirm dates if birth and consistent over all documents. Validity. Confirm the dates and the right to work has not expired. Photo. Check photo IDs are the same across all documents. Does the photo like the applicant? Type of work. It's the applicant permitted to do the type of work you have available. Time restrictions. The limitation, do they have the limit on the numbers hours that can be worked? The students ask for evidence of their study and vacation times. Remember, the copy of retained details of academic term and vacation times for the duration which they will be employed. Name changes. There are genuine reasons why on documents can be different. The marriage, divorce, death pool. Ask for supporting documents to support the applicants. For example, marriage certificates or divorce degree. Copies. Make clear copies of all documents with a clear indications of when the image were provided so a date documented. Remember to retain copies securely, electronically, and a hand copy form. Follow-ups. If if right to work has a time limit, you'll need to recheck documents again when due to expire. Document the date the checks are made and note when next needs to be completed. Historic data. Keep copies through person's employment with a clear record of a date the check was carried out. They must be stored by 2 years after they leave the employment. Make sure all personal data is securely safety and follow the Data Protection Law and the GDPR. Immigration Reform and Control Act IRCA of 1986 under the laws Employer Sanctions Arrangement all employers are required to screen every applicant's eligibility for lawful employment and maintain records demonstrating employment authorizations. The second one of the external influence is the labor market conditions. Refers to the supply and demand of labor, where employers supplies the demand and the employees supply the supply. A labor market is an economy functions with demand and supply of labor. In this market, labor demand is the firm's demand for labor and supply is the workers' supply of labor. The supply and demand of labor is the market is influenced by changes in the bargaining power. We have the compositions of labor force and locations of organization. An analysis of a company's workforce is one of the most important pieces of evidence used to determine whether a firm's employment practices are discriminatory. The locations of the organizations and the labor market will play a major role in the compensations of the workforce.
The organization's view of recruiting. Several aspects affects recruiting from the organization's viewpoint. The recruiting requirements set, organizational policies and procedures, and the organization's image. Recruiting requirements. The recruiting process necessarily begins with a detailed job description and job specification. Without this, it is impossible for the recruiters who determine how well any particular applicant fits the job. It should be it should be made clear to the recruiters which requirements are absolutely essential and which are merely desirable. This this can help the organizations avoid unrealistic expectations for potential employees. An employer might expect applicants who finish first in their graduating class. Our president of uh, our president of extracurricular organizations have worked their way through school, are good looking, have 10 years experience at age of 21, and are willing to work long hours for almost no money. Contrasting with this unrealistic approach, the, effect, the effective organization examines the specifications that are absolutely necessary for the job. Then it then it uses this as its beginning expectation. Organizational policies and practices. In some organizations, HRM policies and practices affects recruiting and who is recruited. One of the most significant of this is promotion from within. For all prac- for all practical purposes, this policy means that many organizations recruit from outside the organization only at the initial hiring level. Most employees favor this approach. They feel this is fair to present loyal employees and assures them of a secure future and a fair chance at promotion. Some employers also feel this practice helps protect trade secret. The technique used for internal recruiting internal recruiting will be discussed later in this chapter. Is promotion from within a good policy? Not always. An organization may become so stable that it is set in its way. The business does not complete effectively, or go, the government will not adjust to legislative requirements. In such cases, promotion from within may be detrimental, and new employees from outside might be helpful. Other policies can also affect recruiting. Certain organizations hire more than their fair share of veterans. In 2011, JP Morgan's Chase recruited 10 other companies to enter into a partnership to hire a, a total of 100,000 veterans by 2020. Some of the partner companies is this 100,000 jobs mission include Verizon, NCR, Cisco, Cushman and Wakefield, and Universal Health Services. Other companies strive to be an employer of choice for individuals with disabilities. For example, the Walgreens Distribution Center in Anderson, South Carolina, recruited 250 people with physical or cognitive disabilities. Also, other organizations may favor hiring friends and family members of current employees. Of all these policies affects an organization's recruiting efforts. Organizational image. The image of the employer generally held by the public can also affect recruitment. All else, hi, all else being equal, it should be easier for an organization with a positive corporate image to attract and retain employees than an organization with a negative image. Thus, for those organizations are reach the top of 2010 Fortune magazine's most admired list, such as Apple, Google, Berkshire Hathaway, Johnson and Johnson, and Amazon. The time and effort needed to recruit high-quality workers may be less than for competitors who rank poorly. Recruitment should also be somewhere easier for companies that exude a com- strong community presence or positive positive name cognition. In sum, the, the idea job specification preferred by an organization may have to be adjusted to meet the realistic, real, realities of the labor markets, government or union restrictions, the limitation of its policies and practices, and its image. If an if an inadequate numbers of high quality people apply, the organization may have to adjust the job to fit the best applicant or increase its recruiting efforts.
Hello, my name is Jenkaila Mahidlawun from Group 2 Recruitment, and I will discuss the potential employees' view of recruiting and internal recruiting from method of recruiting. Potential employees' view of recruiting from the word views. It means that the organization identifies, analyzes the possible employee na pasok sa kanilang organization. Hindi sila basta-basta kukuha lang ng tao para i-hire at magtrabaho sa kanila nang hindi nila tinitignan ng maigi. There's always process and looking or viewing for the potential employee. There are two ways to view a potential employee of recruiting. First is preference of recruit for organizations and job. It refers that the recruits has a set of preference for job. It means that dapat yung organization naglalagay ng reference for job. Hindi yung nag-aanong sila ng hiring for hire pero hindi naman sila nag-set ng reference. Siyempre yung mga job seeker magbibigay lang ng resume or CV nila, and it is important to an organization to set a reference para makita rin din ba nila kung may potential ba as an employee yung job seeker. Job search and finding a job. The recruit. Job search is a process that begins with self-assessment. So it means the purpose of self-assessment is for job searchers to recognize their career goals and their strengths and weaknesses, interests and value, and preferred lifestyle. So dito mas nagiging aware siya hindi lang sa organization na gusto niyang applyan, kundi pati na rin sa sarili niya. Papasok na dito yung mga questions na, do I have a size preference? What kinds of industry interest me? Do I prefer working counseling people or computers? What type of people do I want to work? And of course, magkakaroon ka ng self-presentation. Hindi lang physical but also in resume na presentable tignan. Dito mas nagkakaroon ka ng assessment and you become presentable, hindi lang yung basta nag-a-apply ka. So it is important. There are methods of recruiting but I will say only one and the next presenter will continue with the next methods of recruiting. So I will discuss is about internal recruiting. It refers of identifying, attracting job candidates and filing vacancies within the organization. Ibig sabihin, pag nawala or may naalis na employee sa isang organization ay papalitan ng isang employee na nagtatrabaho sa mismo organization ang naiwan niyang posisyon. Example of this is si Bonalyn. Nag-resign siya as a manager and the company post an application kung sino willing at deserving na maging manager. And note, ito ay ginagawa sa loob ng mismong organization. There are two internal recruiting. First, job posting. Use of bulletin boards or company publication for advertising job openings. Mas effective and mas marami ng gumagawa ng job posting dahil mas madaling mapapansin ng mga employees. Next is internal moonlighting and employee referrals. Ito naman yung klase ng recruitment na imbes mag-post ka about sa job vacancies or bagong posisyon na pwedeng pag-applyan hindi na gagawin. Kasi dito na pumapasok si referrals. Imbes na mag-antay sa mga mag-a-apply or mag-aaksaya ka na mag-interview at pumili ng i-hire, nagre-refer ang mga employee sa organization ng mga family, relatives, friends para sila na ang mag-fill ng vacant position. And then yung job posting and internal moonlight and employee referrals ng internal recruiting.
External recruiting. When our organization has exhausted its internal supply of applicants, it must turn to external sources to supplement its workforce. Research indicates that walk-ins provide an important external source of applicants. As labor shortages increase, however, organizations are becoming more proactive in their recruitment efforts. Ang ibig sabihin ng external recruiting ay ito ay sa halip na i-promote or ilipat ang isang empleyado mula sa loob ng isang kumpanya, ay ito ay yung pagpupuno ng makanteng trabaho sa isang empleyado mula sa labas ng isang kumpanya. There are a number of methods available in external recruiting. These are the media advertising, e-recruiting, recruiting and social network site, employment agencies, and executive search firms. In media advertisement, these are the organizations advertised to acquire recruits. There are various media used, and the most common traditional form is the help wanted ads in the daily newspapers. Organizations also advertise for people in trade and professional publications. Other media use billboards, subway and bus cards, pop-up ads on the internet, radio and television. Some job seekers do a reverse twist. They advertise for a situation wanted and reward anyone who tips them off about a job. In developing a recruitment advertisement, a good place to begin is with the corporate image. General Mills used its strict serial logo to create instant recognition among MBA graduates. The ad featured the Tricks rabbit with the headline, "It's not kid stuff anymore." The copy continued, "Now you're an MBA who's looking for a dynamic growth-directed career environment. Look to General Mills, because it's not kid stuff anymore. It's your future." Simply using a corporate logo is not enough. However, effective recruiting advertising is consistent with the overall corporate image. That is, the advertisement is seen as an extension of the company. Therefore, it must be representative of the values that the corporation is seeking in its employees. Booz Allen Hamilton's advertising campaign has successfully achieved this congruence by conveying in its ad the importance of employee work-life balance. We believe business should always have a human side. E-recruiting. It is the recruitment practices using internet. Perhaps no method has ever had as a revolutionary effect on organizational recruitment practices on the internet. According to Forrester Research of Cambridge, Massachusetts, there are approximately 30,000 different websites devoted in some manner to job posting activities, and approximately 71% of all job listings occur on just a handful of the big boards. There are many reasons for the popularity of the internet as a method of recruitment. From the organization's perspective, it is a relatively inexpensive way to attract qualified applicants. For example, using an executive search firm might cost an organization as much as 1/3 of a position first-year salary as a commission. A large, multicolor advertisement in a professional journey can easily cost $10,000 or more. Compare these figures with the cost of posting a standard job on Monster.com, in which a job is posted for 60 days in a single geographic location at a cost of about $400. These e-recruiting options provide almost immediate access to thousands of prospective applicants. Recruiting in social networking sites. It is to recruit applicants using networking sites like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. It is clear that the use of social networking sites like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn is an exciting addition to the field of external recruiting. While the technology is exciting and has considerable potential to attract potential strong job candidates from huge applicant pools, employment agencies and executive search firms, it is to concentrate their efforts on higher-level managerial positions. Although in similar purpose, employment agencies and executive search firms differ in many important ways. Executive search firms tend to concentrate their efforts on higher-level managerial positions, while salaries in excess of $50,000, while agencies deal primarily with middle-level management or below. Most executive search firms are on retainer, which means that the organization pays them a fee whether or not their efforts are successful. In contrast, agencies are usually paid only when they have actually provided a new hire. Finally, executive search firms usually charge higher fees for their services. One of the reasons that organizations are willing to pay these higher fees is that executive search firms frequently engage in the recruiting efforts while maintaining the confidentiality of both the recruiting organization and the person being recruited.
One of the methods of recruiting under external recruiting is special events recruiting, wherein when the organization is new or not well known, they use special events to attract potential employees. Special event recruiting, isa ito sa mga strategy na ginagamit ng mga new business para makapag-hire sila ng mga bagong empleyado. Example ng event recruiting is yung job fair, wherein it is a one-day event that focus on hiring. Na isa ito sa strategy na ginamit nung Suminort Philippines Wiring System Corporation, yung dito sa Binalonan, na strategy para makapag-hire sila ng employees, wherein they posted on Facebook that they were hiring with this kind of job and they were going to go with this specific place if they are qualified and if they want to apply in this work. Summer internship. Organizations hire students as interns during summer or part-time during the school year. Internship, it is offered by an organizations for a limited period of time na ina-offer sa mga students or what we call trainee para magkapag-gain pa sila ng work experience or masatisfy natin yung mga requirements for qualifications, and it also give us the opportunity para ma-explore and ma-develop pa yung mga skills natin. College recruiting. Organization sends a recruiter to a college campus to interview candidates and describe the organizations to them. College recruiting can be extremely difficult, time-consuming, and expensive for the organizations. In spite of that, recruiters believes that college recruiting is one of the most effective ways of identifying talented employees. And this is the last method under the external recruiting, which is the effective college recruiter. The recruiter is the filter and the matcher, the one who is actually seen by the applicants and is viewed as an extension of the organization. The recruiter is seen as an example of the kind of person the organization values and wants to attract in the future. For these reasons, recruiters must be carefully chosen by the organization. Good recruiters convey an image and appearance that reflect favorably on the organization. They must be outgoing, self-motivated, and obviously good salespeople. However, good recruiters also possess well-developed interpersonal skills because part of their responsibility should be to determine why job offers are accepted or rejected by the candidates. Recruiters should be very familiar with the company they represent for at least two reasons. First, applicants want to discuss opportunities with someone they perceive to be knowledgeable about the company. Second, the recruiters need to be able to determine whether the applicant will fit into the value system of the organization.
Good day, everyone. I'm Novelyn Mercado from the second group of reporters, and I'm here to discuss the nature of realistic job previews. Realistic job previews provide a prospective employee with pertinent information about the job without distortion or exaggeration. Meaning, ang purpose ng realistic job previews ay para maipakita sa mga nag-a-apply kung ano ba dapat yung mga aasahan nila sa trabaho. From the word realistic, lahat ng mga impormasyon na nakalagay sa job previews ay purong makatotohanan at hindi naka-sugarcoat para lamang maka-attract ng mga aplikante. As a recruiters, dapat tayong maging transparent and honest sa pagbibigay ng mga impormasyon about sa job na ino-offer natin and our organization itself. Mapapositive or negative man yan, dapat naka-indicate lahat ng ito sa ipapakita nating job previews sa mga nag-a-apply. Sa pamamagitan kasi ng realistic job previews, magkakaroon ng insights and ideas ang mga aplikante about sa mga skills and qualifications na talaga namang kinakailangan sa trabaho. Additionally, magkakaroon rin sila ng idea about what a typical day would look like on the workplace. Contrary on realistic job previews was the traditional job previews, which provides an attractive, interesting, and stimulating previews about the job. Sa traditional job previews, naglalagay sila ng mga expectations na nakaka-attract sa mga aplikante. But that expectation doesn't really exist. So as a result, ang mga hired na employees, nagkakaroon sila ng dissatisfaction at yung survival rate or kung gaano sila tatagal sa kanilang trabaho ay mababa lang ang tsansa. Kasi yung skills and qualifications na nakalagay sa job previews during the recruiting process na sa tingin nila ay meron sila, ay hindi pala yun yung kinakailangan na skills and qualifications sa trabahong pinasok nila. Unlike sa realistic job previews, sa simula pa lang, naimulat na sa mga aplikante yung mga dapat nilang asahan. So ang tendency niyan, mas makakatagal sila sa trabaho because they knew that they are qualified and perfectly fitted to their job.
Good day everyone. By the way, I'm Jason Maridi Makalalay. I will going to represent the different alternatives to recruitment. Number 1 is overtime. When a firm pays freshers to meet a production goal, it may mean that employees need to work overtime. By having employees work overtime, organizations avoid the cost of recruiting and additional employees. Overtime can also provide employees with additional income. However, there are potential problems. These are fatigue, increased accidents, and increased absenteeism. Ang isang pangunahing benepisyo sa overtime para sa mga empleyado ay ang isang mas produktibong workforce. Sa pamamagitan ng nagtatrabaho ng mas maraming oras, pinapataas sa mga empleyado ang antas ng kung gaano sila natapos. Nagbibigay daan din ito sa kumpanya na makagawa ng mas maraming produkto o serbisyo at mahihatid ang mga ito sa mga kliyente sa mas mabilis na oras. Putting in those long hours can also have a negative effect on your mental health. Spending more time at work and worrying about work increases your stress levels. Let's proceed to our next topic, outsourcing. Outsourcing, sometimes called staff sourcing, involves paying a fee to a leasing company or professional employer organizations that handles payroll, employee benefits, and routine human resource management functions for the client company. Outsourcing is also a business practice in which a company hires a third party to perform tasks, handle operations, or provide services for the company. Of course, the last example of alternatives to recruitment is temporary employment. Temporary employment, it refers to an employment situation where the working arrangement is limited to a certain period of time, based on the needs of the employing organizations. Temporary employment are sometimes called contractual, seasonal, interim, casual staff, and the last is freelance.
Purpose of application forms. Application forms is usually the first step in this process. A filled-in application provides 4 types of information. First, you can make judgment on substantive matters such as whether the applicant has the education and experience to do the job. Second, you can draw conclusions about the applicant's previous progress and growth, especially important for management candidates. Third, you can draw tentative conclusions about the applicant's stability based on previous work record. And fourth, you may be able to use the data in the application to predict which candidate will succeed on the job. Application forms must comply with equal employment laws. Problematical items include: Number 1, education. Number 2, arrest record. Number 3, notify in case of emergency. Number 4, membership in organizations. Number 5, physical handicaps. Number 6, marital status. Number 7, housing. Number 8, video resume. Using application forms to predict job performance. Some employers use analysis of application information, or what we call biodata, to predict employee tenure and performance. In one study, the researchers found that applicants who had longer tenure with previous employers were less likely to quit and also had higher performance within 6 months after hire. Examples of predictive biodata items might include quit a job without giving notice, graduate from college, and traveled considerably growing up.